Okay, I'd like to bring this meeting to order for the Town of Brunswick Planning Board for April 2nd, 2026. If everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, this evening's agenda is as follows. This was posted on the town website and the town board. Number one, Kyle Smith, site plan and special use permit. Applicant seeks site plan approval and a special use permit to complete construction of a one-story building with a carport on property located at 1691 New York State Route 7. Public hearing to commence at 7 p.m. Kyle Smith is the applicant. Number two, Fisher, minor subdivision. Applicant seeks minor subdivision approval to subdivide an 82.17 acre parcel into 3 new lots on property located at 842 Tamarack Road. Public hearing to continue at 7:15 p.m. Rebecca Fisher is the applicant. Number three, Paramount Building Group major subdivision. Applicant proposes a major subdivision on 31.92 acre parcel of land, as well as construction of a new road with a cul-de-sac and a water line extension on property located on the northeast corner of Spring Avenue and Crick Road. Paramount Building Group of New York is the applicant. This item has been removed from our agenda by the request of the applicant and rescheduled for the April 16th agenda. And that was posted also, I believe, on the door coming in. So anybody that's here for the Paramount Building Group, that is not on our agenda tonight. And finally, number four, Mavis Tire site plan. Applicant seeks site plan approval to demolish an existing structure and construct a new building to be used as a Mavis tire supply store on property located at 721 Hoosick Road. Richard Valverde, okay, is the applicant. Thank you. I have a history of not being able to pronounce people's names, so please excuse me. Okay, our first item of business before we get into the agenda is the review and approval of our minutes of the March 5th meeting. Has everybody had an opportunity to review those? Are there any corrections, additions, comments that have to be made on those minutes? Okay, hearing none, I will make a motion to approve the minutes as they have been submitted. There's a second? Is there any further discussion on the minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The minutes for the March 19th meeting have not been prepared yet, so we will review those at our next meeting. Okay, first on our agenda is a public hearing. This is a public hearing for Kyle Smith, site plan and special use permit. Procedurally, I will read the procedure for the public hearing. The purpose of the public hearing is to hear concerns, comments, and views from the general public regarding a particular proposal or application. All public hearings are electronically recorded, and a written record of the proceedings is generated. In most cases, this written record is included, with the minutes of the planning board regular meeting, which is usually conducted immediately after the public hearing. An applicant will be required to respond to all concerns and comments made at the public hearing and subsequently, the planning board will consider all concerns and comments when evaluating the application to ensure that the applicant has addressed all the issues in question. The public hearing will be conducted as follows. The notice of public hearing will be read by the planning board attorney. Next, the applicant will give a brief presentation on the proposal and will provide updates on the application. Upon completion of the applicant's remarks, the chairman of the planning board will recognize persons from the public, and these individuals will be allowed to speak and offer their comments, concerns, and views. Since the proceedings of the public hearing are electronically recorded, it is requested that all speakers step forward and use the microphone at the podium. All speakers will give their name and address for the record. The notice of public hearing will now be read by the planning board attorney.
The following notice of public hearing was duly published in the newspaper, posted to the town clerk's sign board, and posted on the town's website as follows. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the planning board of the town of Brunswick at 7 p.m. on Thursday, April 2nd, 2026, at the Brunswick Town Hall, 336 Town Office Road, Brunswick, New York, 12180, to review the applications for site plan and special use permit submitted by Kyle Smith for property located at 1691 New York State Route 7. Copies of the application are available at the Town of Brunswick Town Hall and are available for public inspection during regular business hours. All interested persons will be heard at the public hearing.
Thank you. Okay, will the applicant step forward and give a brief presentation and give us any updates on the application, if there is any?
Yeah, I don't think there's any updates on the application. What I'm doing is constructing a simple 24 by 24 building with a carport off the side, which will house an office space. And that's it.
Okay. All right, at this time, I will open up the public hearing to the public. Anyone who wish to come up and make any comments, have any questions for the applicant, or make any type of opinions on the application? I didn't think there'd be an overwhelming crowd tonight, so. Once again, I will make an announcement that anybody who wishes to make any comments, have any questions or concerns about the application. This is the Kyle Smith application for a site plan and special use permit at 1691 Route 7. It's obvious that there's nobody here that wants to be heard, so I will make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Now you have to stick around for our regular agenda items.
The rest of them?
Well, no, I have another public hearing to do before you come up, and then we'll open up the meeting, and you're first on the agenda.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Don't get all excited on me. Okay, now the second public hearing is I'm going to resume the public hearing for the, let's see, this is the Fisher minor subdivision. Public hearing was at our last meeting on the 19th of March. There was comments heard. The conversation in the public hearing was kind of on the long side, I understand. So they decided to leave it open. So it's been remained open, and now we're resuming that public hearing. Why don't you give just a brief outline of the project, Mark? Just give a,
Oh, yeah, just a brief outline. It's a 80 plus acre parcel located on the east side of Tamarack Road. We subdivided into 2 building lots and the remaining parcel of land. Each building lot is 5 acres, accessed by Tamarack Road. Each lot has 20 feet of road frontage and share a private roadway to the building lots through the
okay. Now, we did receive a response to the comments that were made at the first part of the public hearing last meeting. I would like to know if there's any additional comments from the public. Does anybody wish to come up and make any other comments? Sir, come on up.
I may, but my comments may be answered if Mr. Danston wants to go first.
So you don't wish to make any more?
Pardon?
You don't wish to make any other comments or add anything to the comments that you made before?
I do, yes. They may already be answered. I'm happy to make them. They're short.
That's fine. This is just a preliminary, submission by the applicant.
Charles Bolson, 63 Indian Creek Lane. Morgan Waters, who came at the prior meeting, he was unable to attend tonight's meeting. He asked me to convey a message, if it's okay, that additional time be granted for him to discuss with National Grid the power line. We had a lot of discussions about, he's concerned about protections. He wants to walk that line with them and just make sure that the roadway, or that there's a distance away from that line so it's protected. So that's a message from him. I would also like some additional time to look into some things that'll allow me to review the pond on my property with the Fish and Wildlife Service, DEC, and the Army Corps. The wetlands I notated in the inventory in the prior meeting are classified and regulated as far as I can tell. And I would like time to look into those regulations surrounding the ponds. There are protected migratory birds that use our pond for breeding. They're in the pond right now, and they arrive every spring for a few months. Those birds also use the pond located on the neighbor's property that is not owned by the applicant. The proposed roadway landing immediately adjacent to these waters raises concern that any artificial means used for the roadway construction may affect these ponds, including drying them out, particularly mine. The groundwater that feeds these ponds and the waterway, I'm sorry, scratch that. Basically, I want to review these 2 ponds and the waterway that connects them, just with some additional authorities. And I'd also like some time to look into the prior project that Mr. Hildebrandt discussed or mentioned. I reviewed the proposed roadway on file at the town. Just the section, I notated that borders our fields. Mr. Oster, you weren't here. I just had a limited section that I'm concerned about that my comments relate to. I reviewed that proposed roadway on file at the town, and without a site grading plan, we have no way of knowing whether or not those improvements will create any issues with wetlands, wildlife, agriculture, soils, or trees. The subdivision regulations appear to grant the board with discretion to require a site grading plan. It would be helpful to know what this roadway will look like on paper before, if it is approved. And if it's okay, Mr. Danskin, may I use your map to show the board this section?
Absolutely. Where are you?
Just the section that's long.
It's this one.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So generally, we're talking about this year. And I have a drawing just with a further extension. And this is the section my comments relate to, nothing else. The pond I'm discussing is here on, looks like Kozak's property, and my pond is over here. And the reason I bring up the site grading plan is I looked at this. There's grade marks all along the roadway, grade lines, but the sections here on my property, this line, and then further down as it turns, there's no grade lines. And so without those grade lines and without a proposed site grading plan, we don't know what elevation this road will be. And there's a waterway that traverses through here. And if you were to go out there right now in the last few days, the entire area is standing water. Yeah.
You think that would do?
Okay.
He's right here.
Yeah.
There's the pond he's talking about.
Yeah,
The other pond's
that's the same
located
thing.
right here. Neither are on this property.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Did you say neither of those ponds are on your property?
No, this one is on my property.
On subject property.
Oh, subject's property, okay.
I'm talking about this one here. It does fall into a little bit onto the proposed property, but mine's here. There's a waterway through here, and there's no grade lines in here. There's a couple here, but there's nothing in here. This area here, this area here, and this area here is right now all flooded with water. And that's really my concern is what are the elevations going to be on this roadway so that I don't take on extra water or have water restricted to our pond, which currently flows this way. So that's my general concern there.
Okay.
And that relates back to my,
We would like to just respond to that, if we can, that particular issue. We have some photographs to show the board. We have been focused on the power pole, which is not servicing our property, but servicing Mr. Waters' property, but is on the applicant's property. And when you stand at that position, and you can see, we'll show you pictures. You can see Mr. Bolson's pond over here, and you can see Mr. Hillebrandt's pond down here. And that's the problem. He's at 509, and this elevation up here where the power line is over 600. So it's a uphill travel. I don't know anything about what may exist subterranean wise between the two bodies, but it's uphill from Mr. Hillebrandt's pond to Mr. Bolson's pond. And the last I knew, water doesn't go uphill. Now, there may be some issues down there, but we're gonna build a driveway in accordance with the town's requirements that's gonna be raised up, if anything. And it's gonna be a bed of gravel. And we're not having any kind of cut or fill that would interfere with whatever is going on now, if anything, between the two bodies of water. So I don't think it's an issue that needs to be addressed. Other than, we're not gonna do anything on the roadway that would interfere with it. But take care of it.
no, I disagree. He's right, there is an uphill portion. And I would agree that this is at 600. And that's at 590, not 509. And I'm talking
Excuse me,
about
590, 10 feet
Yep.
down.
from this point.
Right.
I'm talking about here. This is the one, not this way. I'm talking about this way.
When this is clearly uphill.
This is uphill. This is
600 feet over here.
over there.
Yeah.
I'm talking about over here. the waterway.
I'm not qualified to comment. I can
That's
just
why-
tell you what we know. And I'm reasonably certain you're not.
I'm happy to grab my phone and show you the photographs.
We have some right here.
Okay, perfect. Well, let me finish my comments. Let me put
Okay,
that-
all right.
I'll just put that in. So I'll come back to that in a moment. But I only have two comments. We can go back to that. This property pin here, I was told by prior ownership that property pins were moved for whatever reason. I don't know. This one has hammer marks on it, which it may be moved, may not be moved, I don't know. I would like to have my surveyor independently check this, mainly just check this line. That would be another reason I would like some time. Up until now, I kind of said, well, there's no real effect there, but based on the appearance of that one, and what I was told by prior ownership, I'd like some time to look at that. And then the other thing is reviewing these berm marks in relationship to the property lines and where they are. I'd like to verify that as well. I realize that these can't be located exactly on the drawings, so I'd just like some time to verify these pins here. That's it. I guess we can go back to the waterway, right, the photos and that.
It's just self-explanatory. This is the pond on the Hildebrand property. This is my truck at where the power line is. And down there is the Hildebrand property. And back here is the Bolson Pond. So there's a distance of several hundred yards between the two. And it's uphill from Hildebrand to Bolson.
I disagree with Mr. Inkster. These photos don't depict the waterway. He's correct, this is the pond on the neighbor's property, and he's correct, where his truck is sitting is uphill. But what we're talking about is from the corner of this pond, behind this old rock wall, coming down this way, that leads. These photos do not depict the waterway. I have photos on my phone, but Mr. Inkster is correct. This is the pond on our property, and the waterway is here. And there's also a small section of pond over on this side. This is the electrical easement, and it flows through this field here, and then down here to our pond, and then down to Indian Creek. And that's the waterway that I'm concerned about. I can show you. But he is correct. This is high, this is low. If the grade lines were notated on the plan, it would show it. So,
I'm going to ask a question. What are you trying to prevent here? What is the objective of? You say that it's uphill, downhill. Are you worried about this pond being flooded, additional land being flooded? What are you concerned about?
I'm concerned that this roadway could cut off water supply that already flows this way into our pond.
Is there any culverts or anything through that road?
Right now, the road is maybe an inch or to below the height of this pond, my pond.
Is there water flowing
So when they possibly put this road in, they're gonna put a bed through there, maybe raise the road up a couple feet maybe?
Probably not even.
Would a culvert pipe correct that problem? Would some type of drainage across that road correct or satisfy?
I would put that question back to the applicant to solve that problem.
All right,
I don't think the culvert pipe would work. The water, if there's water passing through from pond to pond, it's groundwater. There's no outlet on that pond on that side, so you'd have to, where's the culvert gonna flow? There's no room for it to flow. The road is a bit higher than the water level right now, I would say, more than a couple inches. But, you know, there's a driveway there now. I don't see
Mark,
any
can you come up,
disruption.
Mark, can you come up to the microphone, because we
Oh, I'm
got
sorry.
to record this.
I'm sorry. I mean, there's a driveway there. Excuse me. You can see the improvement.
This is the road.
Try to get it specific, right where it is.
so you're basically saying that there'll be minimal change to
Minimal disturbance,
on that road.
yes,
So it would possibly be status quo after the project is done.
correct.
The Hillbrand Pond drains out towards Tamarack Road.
I don't know where it drains to. I don't know. I think it's a duck pond. I think it just drains in. I'm not sure.
There's no designated stream there.
Coming out of it.
Between the
Not
two.
that I witnessed, no.
Okay.
Between the
The two ponds.
Mr. Bolson's pond and Mr. Hillenbrand, no.
Do they ever dry out?
Pardon?
Do they ever?
In the
dry out?
summertime, I've gone up and haven't seen your pond, but that was many years ago. So I can't really speak to that.
Have you been
Mr.
up,
Hillenbrand's pond does not dry out.
Right? Neither one of them dry out.
have you been up there in the last couple of days with the rainfall that we've had?
Yes,
And did you see anything noticeably different of flow or anything like that?
when we drove up, we took these pictures to see if it was wet. No, I didn't.
So your comment, Mr. Bolson, is you don't wish anything to be disrupted by putting a driveway in. That's basically the bottom line.
No, that's not it. My concern is that
Okay?
the waterway be preserved between the two ponds, and that a buffer be provided in conjunction with the zoning code that's required, because we use these fields here, all the way up to waters for silvopasture. And being that this would be a non-agricultural use, and we have one, I mentioned this at the last meeting, Mr. Carbox was sharing what you said. I'd like to see a buffer put in place here so that these fields are protected, because this is a gravel roadway. Higher we get these rainstorms we have, everything to filter down into our fields. And I want to just make sure that these are protected. So I requested that a buffer be installed here to prevent, as they mentioned, it is higher in places to prevent runoff from coming into these fields. All right, let me rephrase that, to prevent silt and debris from a roadway from coming into the fields. I know water's going to flow, but if we had a buffer in there, there could be something, fines and debris or what have you could be filtered if the water does come in. So that was my request, that a buffer be placed in here as required to protect those fields.
Do you have any other comments?
The only following, I just want to say, all my other comments still are in place. I'm happy to work with the Fishers and their professionals to work on it. And right now, this plan, as I see it here, I oppose the plan, but I do not oppose the Fishers living on the property, using their property. I just would like to see a buffer put in there to protect the fields and that waterway and the electrical line, but that's all that I kind of said. There's an electrical line there as well. So.
Well, you mentioned a buffer of 100 to 300 foot buffer. What would that buffer be? Are you talking like a berm or something through there, or just real estate?
That would be up to them, but something that could filter rainwater if it were to come into the fields. Grasses, tall grasses, things that catch water as it sheds, or catch things that might come from a driveway into those fields.
Yeah, but if you put a berm on that curve there, you're gonna stop the water flow from that other side going into your pond. So it's a catch-22 from what I'm seeing.
Trying to keep the water flowing and trying to keep it from flowing. Trying to keep the water flowing from pond to pond and trying not to keep it flowing from the driveway into, right?
Now, I haven't been out there. I like to have permission to drive out there and go off the road. Does the water cross that at that point on that curve? Yes or no? Or is it all underground water?
It can on occasion. It typically does not, but it is underground water. And that's the thing. On this side of Indian Creek, I've dug on both sides. On this side of the creek, where this is in my home, as the water table is high. You go to the other side, it's hard to find water. But on this side, the water is just below the surface. So it's probably a combination of groundwater, rainwater. On occasion, it will go across the road, but typically no.
Mark, what's the width of the roadway there that we're talking about?
Currently,
Yeah, well, what would be proposed after all the lots are said and done?
it'd be a 16-foot travel way, probably, be a 16-foot travel way per the cross section. But coming around that turn, we'd probably smush it out a little bit.
In your experience, how much have you seen silting wash away from 16-foot wide roadway? Okay, thank you.
I hope you realize I'm taking a lot of liberty with this public hearing. You know that, don't you? And the reason being is because I want you to explain your comments a little bit more to us versus going to the regular meeting where you have no, you can't make any comments. So that's why I'm being a little bit, more liberal with this public hearing. But I just want to make sure that we're all on the same, your comments are heard. And you made a mention of Mr. Walters' concern about
Waters,
excuse me.
WATER, yes.
With the electrical line and so forth. I think that's a given as far as one of the, approval conditions to determine what that electrical line would be. So I think that comment can be addressed through the process. I think you can address these comments that he has. Is that correct? The problem I have is I don't know if I need to extend this public hearing for another
I think
meeting.
most of the comments that were made tonight were made the other night, and we were prepared to address them.
The same comments.
Okay.
We would like to review the waterways. That is important, and we do. From what we can tell, U.S. Fish and Wildlife does regulate those. We would like an opportunity to review those.
Are they DEC wetlands?
They're
Or
listed
Cora?
as wetlands by DEC.
They're-
I'm big enough to not per Mr. Bradley.
Okay.
That's who I went to.
They're not core wetlands either?
Not on our property. We're not disturbing anything off our property. The road's been well improved. There's been a lot of rock put down on the road. You know, it's not like we're cutting into native soil, putting it down, you know. It's been down for quite some time.
The original roadway coming off of Tamarack was granted in 1987. So that means that road was cut into the lands that we are seeking to build residence on back then. That roadway, you can see clearly, that's where Mr. Bowles is talking about, where he's concerned about water. It is high and dry. And this is the other day, during all the water we've had in the last few weeks. There's no stormwater running through the stream. That's the photo just the other day. This is 2 hours. Where is that?
That is your roadway,
Mark said we got
right there. There's the guy wire for the power line. This is the road coming down.
Yeah.
And that's all water flowing from that.
Where's the road?
Right there. As you can see, there's your guy wire.
Where is it relative to the water?
It's right in front of us. That you're looking at, that's the roadway. Those are the tire pads.
If I may disagree strongly, that's the roadway I can clearly see.
Is that guy wire?
I don't see any roadway there.
Is that guy wire? That
All right, gentlemen.
Your photo is incorrect.
I disagree, Mr.
I
Inkster.
was there the other day.
Okay, you've made your comments. Is there anyone else that wishes to make any comments for this public hearing? Okay, there's been a request by one of the public to extend this public hearing or to adjourn it temporarily. And I, at this point, do not see why we'd have to do that. All the comments have been addressed, and now you've heard any additional comments or modifications to those comments. I'm going to poll the board here. Do you want to close this public hearing and move forward with the process? Okay. Okay, if there's no more comments,
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
No second.
okay. There's been a motion to close the public hearing. Is there any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the public hearing is officially closed. We are going to move on to our agenda, which the Fisher application is part of that agenda. So right now, first on our agenda is the Kyle Smith. Come on back up. Okay, well, you've had your public hearing. There's no comments. Obviously, you don't have to respond to anything because there wasn't anything. Usually, we would require a written response. We had times have wavered that, but I would have to say that you've satisfied anything in the public hearing. So moving forward on this, is there anything that has to be addressed at this point? Of all did you get a response back from the county on this? Okay. Is there anything engineering wise that has to be reviewed or discussed?
No, but they've addressed all the comments that I've had.
Okay. Is there any conditions that would have to be put on this as far as a potential approval?
Not that I'm aware of.
I mean, it's an existing curb cut on Route 7, so you don't need a driveway permit from the state. It's already an existing curb cut.
He has a septic and he has a well
And a foundation.
and foundation.
Okay. I think we're all set to move forward on this.
I'm going to make a declaration on secret. Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion on the seeker determination? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now, the approval of the site plan and special use permit, this can be done.
Two separate resolutions, one for each.
Okay. We probably should do the special use permit first. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the special use permit?
I'll make the
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any conditions that have to be put on that? I don't think so. Any further discussion on the special use permit? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now, a motion to approve the site plan. Do I have a motion to,
I make the motion.
okay? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there any conditions that have to be placed on that?
You need a knockbox from fire?
Yep, I need that.
Otherwise, they're gonna pound that door in,
Well, hopefully there's never a fire.
or do the overhead, take the overhead door out. It's not
Okay.
overhead door.
One
Yeah.
condition to have a Knox box put in there?
Yeah.
Any other conditions? Wayne, you all set?
I can't think of any.
Okay. Okay, then let's take a vote on the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, you're all set.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you for your patience.
You want any of these drawings?
Well, that's, those are his drawings, right?
They don't
No,
pound that
they're
door.
not, okay. Should we collect, Kevin, you want us to collect the drawings here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's the one dated,
February 19th.
Okay, moving along here. Everybody's doing their paperwork.
February 19th.
Is we're back with Fisher. Come on up. You did submit comments and responses. I would like to go through those.
Yeah, I tried to do this as an organized fashion as I could. The responses, the comments of the public, which includes Mr. Waters, Mr. Bolson, and Mr. Hildebrand. We kept them in order, and then I gave one answer to several of the comments. And initially, I'd like to start with the Mr. Waters brought to our attention that there was an easement across the existing property, the property of the applicant that was burdened with a power line coming from Tamarack Road through the driveway area and then to a pole in that driveway area, which I was showing to you earlier. Which is, where is it? Right here. And then it travels into the lands of Bolson, and it's for the purposes of providing power, as we understand it, to the lands of Morgan Waters. Now, we knew the power pole was there before we started this process, but we didn't know anything about who was benefited by it or where it went, other than that it went off of the lands of the applicant onto someone else's property. And when Mr. Waters came in with the utility easement that he gave to Niagara Mohawk Power Corporation back in 1995, it was something that we were not aware of and did not know. My clients purchased the property in November, I believe it was, of 2025. They had a title report. Title report showed all the easements and all the chain of title and who was owner. That easement that Mr. Waters provided us was not in the chain of title. And the reason why it wasn't is because Mr. Waters gave the easement to National Grid, Niagara Mohawk, in 1995 across lands that he did not own. Now, I asked him about that when he was here last, and he said, well, Mr. Reifenberg, who was an owner in title at one point, gave him permission to give the easement. And I said, well, either way, it's an easement we did not know about until now. Now, we without our knowledge or our consent, Mr. Waters and Mr. Bolson took it upon themselves to put stakes in the roadway area showing where they believe, or whoever did the job for them, where this power line is. And now that we know that they think there's a power line in our 60-foot private driveway area, we have to deal with it, notwithstanding the fact that the easement may be a nullity as a matter of law. The power line is still there and we have to deal with it. So our response is that we're going to identify it, we're going to mark it, and we're going to build our driveway away from it and not on it. And we're going to protect it because it may very well be our source of power to feed the two residences that the applicant wants to build. We just don't know. We've asked National Grid to give us an analysis of how we should go about servicing the two proposed homes with power. They will not do that unless there's a foundation in the ground. So we're caught in a catch-22. We can 1-800-DIG and identify and find this power line. But we believe it goes up along the, where they have it. It's in the photos that I put in my responses. You'll see these flags along here. This particular shot shows 3 flags where the power line is allegedly located. That's the lands of Bolson, that's the lands of Waters, and this is the driveway area. So we think, we don't think, Mr. Danskin has confirmed that there's more than sufficient room there for us to build the driveway in accordance with all town regulations and still leave the power line wherever it is. Whether or not it's an easement that's enforceable doesn't really matter. Once we have the power line located and we know who is serviced by it and we can figure out who should be benefited by it, then we can talk about an appropriate easement to the appropriate parties. But
Just as a reference, the second one from the left on the bottom here where you have the flag, there's a little, looks like a little pine tree there.
Yeah.
The house over here, whose house is that? Right,
this house,
yeah,
that's the Bolson house.
okay.
Now, when I took this photograph, I'm standing on the roadway. And this is the power line that drops.
Right,
And then it goes across. Here's a better shot of it. Here's the power line. And here's where the power line goes through the lands of Bolson. There's another pole over there with a transformer on it. And then we're not sure what the hell's going on because when you look at the power, we went in on Indian Creek Road. There's power lines going up and down Indian Creek Road servicing all of the homeowners there. And there's also a main power line coming off of Tamarack Road, going across lands that I'm not sure who owns it. I think probably mostly Harrington Farms property, goes across the big field and straight into Indian Creek Road. We believe this power line comes off that line that goes across the lands of Harrington to Indian Creek, shoots off to the side and comes to this pole. We don't know why. It doesn't really make any sense. But that's what we're facing, and we understand the responsibilities we have.
So if I'm reading this right, you got poles that go to,
Could you
That
bring
pole's-
the aerial?
I'm
You-
sorry.
You have an aerial map.
and then it goes
The other side.
underground there.
If you could show us where that, thanks, Mark.
It's an old photo.
It's okay.
Here's our property.
Yep.
The way I think it comes in. Here's our property. Comes up here,
Yeah, it goes across that field.
goes in this way. Somehow gets to here.
It's all underground.
So it's east,
Pardon me?
it's east of the pond,
Comes up from
Overhead.
Tamarack Road.
overhead.
what- so what-
Power pole, and Mr. Bolson's.
Yeah.
A couple transformers on it. Then it goes to our property, power pole that's on our land.
Right,
On
Then
which-
it drops, goes underground. Okay?
to where?
And then
We think it goes to
Mr.
waters. It goes
Then
up to
I think
waters.
It may continue through, because when you go at the beginning of Tamarack Road and Indian Creek, there is no power until you get back quite a ways. And then the poles show up, and it looks like they're coming from the east instead of the west. You know what I mean?
I do know.
I'm not really sure what I do know is what's marked out there is probably fairly accurate to where the power line is. Because now that you know that there's a power line there, even though it was put in 25 years ago, this driveway is hard. It's had rock put on it, it's been improved, it's really hard. And about 3 feet off the edge of the driveway, there's a little bit of a swell, which is most likely the dig for the power. It didn't get compacted like the driveway does. You know what I mean? So you can see a little depression, almost looks like a swell, but
Yeah.
I bet you that's where the line is. That seems to be what their markings show. We don't want to get into the easement, but it seems like it's about 15 feet off the property line as opposed to 5 feet off the property.
So the bottom line is you gotta identify,
Gotta work around it.
you gotta find where this is. and you-
We have to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's there. Period.
So to me,
Which I think we
you
can.
recognize the problem, you
We've
recognize
got a
the comment,
60-foot right of way.
and you're gonna address
to
it.
Do it.
And we're not being altogether altruistic about it. I mean, I don't know what National Grid's gonna say, but that makes sense for us our source of power should come off of that line somewhere.
Well, this leads to next, I think, the other comment on number 6. Was there a study for the existing electrical line capacity? That's not your concern at this point, is it? That's Niagara National Grid when you asked to get hooked up, right?
That's strictly, we're all subject to what National Grid wants to do.
Yeah.
Or doesn't want to do.
They may say you might have to go out to Tamarack Road and come
I'll
up
tell you,
in.
the line goes a long way now without a jump. It goes about 1,600 feet. You've seen people with transformers that are up a 400-foot driveway, and they got another box at the top of their house.
Yeah.
It's a jump.
Yeah.
Give it a little juice. This is a line right from the right from the transformers.
That line to the pole, that doesn't come from Tamarack Road.
Which pole are we talking about?
The
This one?
pole, you only got one pole. It's
Yeah.
pole on your
One on
property.
our
There's a
property.
line,
Yeah.
comes,
No, it comes off of,
the power comes up Indian Creek and up into that pole, and then the buried cable goes to Waters. National Grid.
That's National Grid?
Yeah, didn't pay my bill.
Either way, the point we were trying to make is that the power that services Indian Creek and the residents there doesn't come off of the lands of the applicant. There's just this one pole here. And now we know there's an underground line that apparently goes up along the lands of Bolson, the lands of Waters, through the roadway area and services Waters. That's what we understand what Waters was saying the other night.
The first house is Bolson, the second house is Waters.
Yeah, on the,
Bolson's gonna get his power off before it hits our property.
So as far as you know, the only service provided is Waters off this underground line. Is that correct?
that's what we believe. That's what Morgan was saying. He installed the power line.
He did?
That's what he said.
He worked for Reifenberger fame.
And he
Works for
he
Barry
gave it-
now, in the biz.
He gave an easement to National Grid in 95, and he bought his property in 94. And I'm guessing that's when the power line went down in the ground there. And that was probably, makes sense. It was the shortest route to get to his house.
No trees to cut. no nothing. Right up.
Okay.
It did show up, because Reichenberg needed a sign, and then everything would have been fine, we would have known about it. However, the line still would not be inside the easement. The easement says it's 5 feet wide, the line's at least 15 feet off the property.
Say hypothetically that you're gonna get your power off this pole. Like National Grid says, we're gonna take it off here. And as far as capacity for that 1,200, 1,400 underground line, is that something that National Grid has to address? Okay. So you have nothing to do with that?
No, but I think that in the ground somewhere where it leaves our property according to the sketch, it looks like there's a structure of some kind, like the future continuum or something. Because you'll see the easement comes up and then they draw a box. It looks like, might be the transformer,
Okay.
the sketch is not that clear. I don't see it out there.
But all of
I
that,
think what I'm trying to get at is this. You know, there's been a request that we should do a study on all that. I don't think we should do a study. I think the thing is National Grid's going to have to address this, right?
Yes.
Your responsibility is to identify where the underground line is and make appropriate changes in your roadway to compensate for anything that maybe that line may bring.
Yes.
exactly.
And we've got 60 feet to fit on the cross section's like 20 feet wide or something. We've got room to wiggle.
Okay. All right. All right. I think we banged that around enough.
Yep.
Think?
I think so. Shall I go on with the other responses, or are we all? As far as, go ahead.
I don't know if there's going to be additional responses that are going to be provided for you from the minutes and so forth and so on, and Mr. Olson's comments.
Understand.
I would classify this as basically an initial draft at this point.
What was
There may
it?
be- There may
It
be
was an-
additional stuff.
It was an attempt to respond to the comments of last meeting.
That's, okay.
Can I add something?
Absolutely.
So one of the comments that you heard both, I think tonight and last time related to a buffer.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Okay. So I just want to point out the section of the town code that talks about that.
Okay.
It's section 160-31 subdivision D.
Right.
And it does talk about buffers when you have a proposed non-agricultural use which adjoins an existing agricultural use. And assuming that section applies, it requires a buffer of not less than 100 feet, up to 300 feet, but not less than 100 feet. It doesn't define what that buffer needs to be. It doesn't say it needs to be a berm, for example. So if in your supplemental comments, if you can address how the applicant believes either this section doesn't apply, or if it does, how your plan provides for a 100-foot buffer, what that looks like, I think that would probably be helpful for the board member.
I think we addressed that in your comments.
I did address it to the degree that we take the position that we believe no buffer is necessary under these circumstances. My understanding of the intention of the use of the buffer is when you have a full-blown farming operation adjacent to a substantial residential development. And in those circumstances, there's an interest in protecting the new residential development from the odors, whatever you want to call in the way of negative impacts from the farming, ongoing farming situation. It's kind of interesting that they looked at it that way. As a farmer.
I agree. It's the way I read it. It appears as if it's intended to be protective of the non-agricultural use from nuisances that might be raised about living next to a farming operation.
And if I'm a farmer, I strongly disagree.
Correct. That being said, you use the phrase full-blown agriculture use. That's not language from the section. So all I'm suggesting is if the applicant's position is this doesn't apply, explain why using the language of the code, okay? If your conclusion is it does apply, but we satisfied the buffer requirement with this plan, tell us how it satisfies that.
My conclusion thus far is that it does not apply because both properties, the Bolson property and my client's property, are zoned A40. They're both allowed to have residential and agricultural uses. And Mr. Bolson has, I believe, very limited agricultural use, albeit some. I'm not exactly familiar with what's there. I know there are chickens, and I believe there are some four-legged farm animals, but I'm not certain. And that's the extent of it. It's not something that would fall into the category of a farm operating as a farm. Now, because the zoning is the same, and we intend to have two residences that are how far away are these houses going to be? There's,
From each other,
no, from the Bolson property,
thousands,
long distance.
couple thousand.
And it's all woods in between on both the Bolson and the applicant's property.
So from that view, a buffer is provided.
It's there. It's existing. And the ordinance is quite clear. I believe that one of the comments that Mr. Bolson made was he was concerned about his chickens being at risk by the residences going up and down their driveway. And somehow the chickens were in harm's way. And the ordinance seems to say that you got to keep your chickens in a coop or some sort of contained situation, as with your farm animals. So if that's in compliance, I mean, anything can happen, obviously, but it seems to me it's not necessary to even have to address the need of a buffer in these circumstances. And I'll go into that more on if
That would, I
everybody.
think that would be helpful for the board to
Sure.
have that spelled out a little bit more explicitly, the reasoning
Sure.
than from your initial comment.
I got to tell you, I mean, if you're talking 800, 1,000 feet to the closest resident, if that doesn't classify as some type of buffer, I'm lost on what we can do here.
And that may very well be the answer. It's just, I didn't see that expressed in the comments.
Yeah. I was under the impression initially by the, maybe we're talking possibly a residence that could be right within, the setback requirements
Back
of the
here,
property line. Yeah.
back here. The nearest resident. Closest resident. Back here.
Well, I'm talking about the property, his property line,
This property line?
which what I classify as what he's classifying as his
Right
farm.
there, right there. So just off the map, there's 400, 700 to the, so that's 1,100 just to the property line to property line. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Chris, does the buffer distinct, or does the code distinguish the buffer being property line or residence to residence?
It seems like most of it was wooded near our.
No, I think he's questioning the definition.
Yeah, I have a subsequent question to the buffer area. There's a definition. Is the definition buffer area the same as the buffer that's in the agricultural?
So everybody is welcome to read the language.
I
Um,
didn't stay at a Holiday Inn, so I can't.
Again, for the record, Code Section 160-31, this is subdivision D. Whenever agricultural uses and proposed non-agricultural uses adjoin, the applicant for the non-agricultural use, which in this case would be our applicant, shall provide buffers to reduce the exposure of these abutting uses to odors, noise, and other potential nuisances associated with the agricultural operation. Said buffer strips may consist of vegetative screening, woodlands, vegetated berms, or natural topographic features, and when required, shall be no less than 100 feet in width and may be required up to a width of 300 feet, depending on the type of adjoining agriculture or farm use and the topography and the proposed design and planting of such buffer. In the event that an application requires approval of, among others, the planning board, it shall be the responsibility of the respective board to provide an effective buffer that will reasonably protect adjacent residential living areas from agricultural practices and to protect the agriculture use from nuisance complaints and nuisance lawsuits from their non-farm neighbors. So there's a couple things, okay? It does not, whoever asked, define how that 100 foot is to be measured. Property line to property line, use to use. I think, for what it's worth, and this could be a code enforcement question, but interpretation, it would make sense to me that you'd measure it from the house to the farming operation because that's the nuisance. So
Yeah, I heard you say residential living area.
correct.
Homestead.
Or homestead.
To
park, right,
protect
homestead
adjacent
itself.
residential living areas. And then your question was, does it define,
There's a buffer area
Oh.
definition in the front, but they're not quite similar. And it is also not explicit in its definition of either property line or.
so there's a couple ways potentially it gets resolved. Okay, one is it can be decided for whatever reason that this is not a situation where an agricultural use and a non-agricultural use adjoin. You heard Mr. Engster question potentially the scope of the farm operations. That's one. The other way is to say, okay, there is this adjoining use, but there is a buffer provided of sufficient size based on what's proposed.
I think I agree with the chairman that just the distance alone, the size of the property provides its own buffer.
If the residences are 1,000 to 1,300 feet away, you've met your 100 to 300 foot area.
The driveway, yeah. It seems like along the driveways mostly wooden. Oh,
All right,
you can just tell from the photos.
I think we've hammered this around enough. I would suggest that we view the comments of the second part of the public hearing. If there's anything that can be added to your comments, or, it's been mentioned twice, that, to modify those. But I would have to say from our discussion and from what I've heard, that most of the comments have been addressed in this, in your presentation here. So I would suggest you just kind of look at those. We'll have time to maybe look at these a little bit more because we just got these
Today.
This afternoon.
this
Today.
afternoon. I think if anybody has any questions, they could contact you. Is that correct? Or
Yes.
The building department can. We'll work through the building department.
Pardon me?
Any legal questions we have, we'll work through Chris. Does that work? And then at our next meeting, hopefully, if there's no changes to this and you wish to submit the same document, we'll go through this.
Okay.
uh,
Fair enough.
Would you want that submitted ahead of time?
Preferably, yes.
When's the
Our
next?
next
return?
meeting is on the 16th,
16th?
correct.
Maybe we can get it out next week and get a week to look at it.
All right.
I think we've hammered quite a few of these through the public hearing and the dialogue with Mr. Bolson in this dialogue here. We've covered a lot of the things here of what's in questions, and I think it would give the board an opportunity to sit there and say, okay, let's read this and see what we come up with.
Okay.
All right?
Fair enough.
Is there any questions from the engineering department?
Can you put a map together and show what direction the electricity,
Pardon me?
some kind of a map together and show that pole, the electricity, where it comes from and where it goes to? I mean, you got the pole mapped on the, I
Well,
don't,
it's on our property.
yeah,
We understood that that pole that's on our property
I'll show you right here.
went straight into the lands of Folsom. Now we are told that's in Morgan Waters.
No, that's it. You're right there.
That's all we knew.
So there's the pole.
right.
Here's Mr. Bolson.
And there's a line that comes off that
The
pole.
line comes
overhead.
here to another power pole. And then it runs down to Tamarack Road.
So the,
That's what I believe.
uh,
It's really hard to see without going on the property.
all right.
That's
Can
what
you, and when it hits that pole, it goes underground.
Have you been allowed to go on the property?
I didn't ask.
When it hits,
I didn't really feel a need. I knew that the easement wasn't affecting us at this time. If you want me to check it out now, I'll go check it out with Mr. Olson's permission.
Well, the one thing that's.
Well, what I'm saying is it's overhead. Here's Tamarack Road. And it comes up, and I don't know how it gets up there, because there's a 25-foot easement coming this way.
When I came to this meeting tonight before
Did you
anything,
drive by?
excuse me,
Did you drive by this?
I was up there the other day.
Okay.
I thought the power line was buried up along that driveway that you want to put in. Now, you're telling me.
Well, it
it's-
is, but it starts up here.
Yeah, I thought it was coming all the way up from Tamarack Road.
He's right. That's what we understood was the lay of the land when we started this. Was the power came off of here and all we had was that pole. Now, at the last meeting, there's this water's easement that shows. And they went ahead and went on the Fisher property and put these stakes in saying there's an underground cable that goes up this roadway that we want to build. And it goes up along the Molson property and the Waters property, and we believe into Waters to service him.
Okay.
That's the underground thing that's shown in these pics.
That's all right.
Where, so there is an additional thing now we gotta find out
All right.
about.
Okay,
See, for instance, in this shot, this is Bolson property and this is Waters property, and here they got 3 stakes they put in. That-
Right. I saw them.
Apparently, that's where there's an underground.
Did you drive up the road to Waters?
I drove all the way to the
To the
the
meadow?
power lines. And I said, I'm gonna get stuck out here and I'm gonna go back.
You mean the first power pole that we're talking about with the drop on it?
I was all the way, I could see the
High
dump.
transmission.
Oh, so
Oh, you went all the way.
I was all the way in the back.
You were all the way in the back. Nice road, isn't it?
Not quite to town standards, but is that my
But you
escape?
got there easy
I
enough.
got there and back, but it didn't rain all week. But anyways, when I looked at that pole, the line going down was on the wrong side of the pole. So didn't
I
make
hear
sense
ya.
to me.
It didn't make sense to me either. That's
Okay.
why
I'm
on my
just asking
survey
for
map,
you
I
to-
got the underground going both ways.
Grab Morgan and figure out what the hell's going on up there.
He told us what's going on. It's coming down that drop, it's going out, runs along, what we're calling the roadway. It parallels the road, edge of the roadway, I'd say 3 or 4 feet off of it, all the way down to,
Waters.
no, all the way down to, need
Got it.
one more map.
Goes away from Tamarack Road. It's going in towards Waters. He's the second house.
Wait, if they got an
Comes
easement.
in off the
does it have to be
power
on
pole
file if
From this direction, overhead,
Correct.
overhead.
There's an easement.
And it goes underground, 3,
County.
4 feet off the edge of the road, 15 feet off the property line, all the way to this point. Then it shoots that way and this way to Waters.
Okay.
So it leaves the road right there.
All right.
and
I
follows
was,
the property line.
all right. When I was up there, the lines are coming down the wrong side of the pole. So I thought it was coming up from Tamarack Road and feeding power to everybody up
There just
But it's
wasn't
not.
enough evidence in the ground to mark the line.
All right.
is there a survey map on record at the county with Waters property that you could?
Is there a potential to move the right-of-way road farther away from that property line where power line, where it makes the,
You can't-
120
You
degree.
can't really do anything with the roadway coming up until you get to this point.
that's what I'm talking about, between there and along that.
Yeah. I
on
mean,
me.
the rub is the only real spot that the power line, I think, is gonna be an issue at all. If it is an issue, it's right at the first turn.
Which you're confined to 60
Which
feet.
I'm confined with.
Thank you.
All right, you got a few things to do?
Can I comment?
Absolutely.
You guys brought up the electrical issue again, and I think we've, aren't gonna be able to resolve all that tonight, but, in your response number 2 regarding wetlands, you indicate all wetland and pond areas are shown on the Danskin survey maps. Were the wetlands delineated?
No,
I would suggest you have a wetland specialist go out and confirm that there are no wetlands on your property.
there's no wetlands in that 60-foot strip, and there's,
How do you know? How do you know?
because I've been there and it's hard as a rock.
You're
and
not a
there's no
wetland
vegetation.
specialist.
There's no vegetation.
It's more than, it's more than
There's no
just,
vegetation that would confirm that there is wetlands there at all.
You're talking about in the roadway.
Yeah.
All right, so are you talking about in the roadway?
I'm talking about everything inside the property. That includes the roadway and the rest of the property.
I disagree with that. I see no
Well,
wetlands throughout our roadway, and.
I would like to
the
see
slope
something
of the
from a
land
wetland
is too
specialist
great to
that,
hold a
that-
wetland.
that verifies that. I would like to see something from a wetland specialist that verifies that.
I want to just make sure I understand your concern.
Well, the issue came up. And there
I
are
understand that, but-
adjacent wetlands to your roadway. Well,
We have.
I don't know they're wetlands, they're ponds. Not every pond's a
Right, but they're not-
wetland,
they're
and not every wetland is wet.
But what
So-
if the Olson Pond is a wetland? It's not on our property, and it's,
And the Hillebrand Pond is also not on our property.
Well, it depends on how close it is to your property.
little grants right there. Well, both of them are really close.
Well, if it's classified as a state wetland, there's a 100-foot buffer zone that you have
It's
to deal
not.
with.
I know
Well-
that. I know that. I know it's not.
Well, I want you to show me. I want you to give me evidence that that's true. Fair
All
enough.
right, so I just gotta ask one more question on it because it's a big expense to the client. As far as delineating or noting if there are wetlands or not wetlands on the property, are you concerned with just the development part of the property? Or are you concerned with the entire 80 acres?
Well, if you're in a wetland buffer where your road is, that's an issue. Because
I agree with you.
you'll be putting disturbance in the buffer zone. Not that, it's not a deal killer, but you might need a permit to do that.
I'm confident.
The rest of your property is big enough where you can avoid it. But you can't build a house in a wetland either. So,
All right, I understand. what you're-
There's not a wetland near these lots.
well, I can't just take your word for it.
He's talking about the roadways.
Yeah.
I've looked at a lot of wetlands.
The disturbed area is your roadway, because you have to improve the roadway to get to service those houses.
He's talking about the roadway.
Very good.
All right.
My only other comment is about the drainage. I mean, you can't disrupt drainage patterns, so if you give us enough evidence that you're not, then I'm okay with that. But you do have to address the comments from the public, so. And I'm still waiting on the changes to the erosion sediment control plan.
Really?
I'm sorry, you're still waiting on,
Yeah, I made comments on the erosion sediment control plan, sent them to Steve Dean,
I
sent
kinda
him,
lost track of that.
so he still has to do that. So that's just another item that needs to be addressed.
So we'll see you gentlemen on the 16th. Correct?
16.
All right. Thank you. Okay, number 3 on our agenda was the Paramount Building Group. We've already discussed that. Number 4, Mavis Tire.
Hi, good evening. Andy Brick from the Brick Law Firm on behalf of Mavis Tire. Rich Valverde is the applicant for Mavis. Since we were here last month, we submitted a number of documents, including a long environmental assessment form, a geotech study, as well as a traffic study that demonstrates no impact to traffic patterns as a result of our project. I'll have Kevin Hickson from BL Companies, our engineer, walk you through all the changes in the documents since we've been here last month. I think we're in a position where you could declare our application complete and possibly schedule us for a public hearing, but you know, that's within your discretion, but I think we may be at that point, and we're here to address any questions you may have, and I'll turn it over to Kevin.
Okay.
And while I'm waiting for Kevin to hand it out, I would just say that Mr. Bonesteel is spot on with that wetland analysis. If I had the ability to get up and say there's no wetlands every time, there'd never be wetlands. So that was well done.
You could have made a comment at the public hearing on that.
It was close. It came up after.
Okay.
I can see these. I can share. Can you see that?
Before we start, I have one question for Kevin. And
Sure.
The B15 zone, that's B15, correct?
Yeah.
How far does that extend up Mohawk Avenue?
Don't quote me, I believe it's 500 feet.
500
From the
feet?
center line of Pleasant Street.
Because I seem to recall years ago, we were reviewing some commercial site, and they wanted to put an exit into a residential area, and it was not allowed. This would not be an exit into a residential area because it's into, the road extends up.
This exit is lower than the exit for Quick Check.
Okay.
Do me a favor and just back that microphone up.
point it up?
No, just take it back into the crowd, the entire.
Farther away.
Yeah, it's singing a little bit.
Which way you want me to go,
Toward
this
you,
way?
yes, that way.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. For the record, Kevin Hickson with BL Companies, 355 Research Parkway, Meriden, Connecticut. Tonight, we had met on the 5th of March with the members here, and we have submitted a full application that includes a full drainage report, the full environmental assessment form, the traffic report, and a geotech report to support the application. The subject parcel is at 721 Hoosick Road in the city of Brunswick, and it butts two roadways, Hoosick Road to the south, Route 7, and then Mohawk Avenue to the east. The existing land is a dentist office. It's idle at this point. Was previously used as a dentist office. And it's a one-story, approximately 2,680 square feet. The existing building has parking areas, walkways, utilities associated with it, and a 3 to 4 foot high timber retaining wall toward the back or the north of the property. The pre-existing conditions, the slope, it slopes from the north to the south in elevations that range from 491, 492 at the back. Okay, that's back along the northerly property line. And Hoosick Road is at 476, 477. It gives you a magnitude of the elevation difference from existing conditions.
That 492 is the end of your
Correct.
property line.
Yep. We are proposing and the drainage patterns, it's 1.67 acres that drain the drainage patterns that also includes Hoosick Road, drain toward Hoosick Avenue. So there's a drainage area of 1.67 acres.
And the redevelopment of this site includes the demolition of the existing structures, followed by construction of a 6,098 square foot Mavis Tire building containing 7 bays, vehicle service bays. And then it also includes new parking areas for 25 parking spaces. We are requesting a waiver of the 20-foot 20-foot buffer zone for residential with parking areas. As shown here, we have the dumpster enclosure that is up against the building. This provides easier access for the employees to gain that access. Plus, it gets the dumpster enclosure further away from the rear property line, which we understand is a residential property. So we're asking for the waiver of that part of it for that requirement.
Show that on the, show us again on that. What distance are you talking about?
The distance is right, see this line right here is 20 feet.
Yeah,
And this parking space, this one parking space, is actually within that 20 foot.
okay, I see it, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we want to make sure that the enclosure is as close as possible to the building
Yeah.
for operations, but also for the residential abutting property.
That requires a ZBA action, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
If I can address that briefly, if you look at the language of 16044, it talks about parking areas or access thereto can't be within 20 feet. We could put the parking space where the dumpster is and put the dumpster back there, and we wouldn't need any type of relief because the dumpster can be within that 20 feet. It's the parking space and the access to the parking space that can't be. So we were proposing, if you waive that, which is a design standard in the off-street parking section 16044, and I read the code that the planning board can waive design standards, we'd be seeking the waiver to allow the dumpster to be farther away from the neighbor and the one parking space to be within the 20 feet. So that's what was our rationale for it. Also, in addition, if you look at the definition of parking space in your code, and I'll read it to you. A parking space unit is an off-street space available for the parking of one motor vehicle having an area of not less than 162 square feet, which is 9 by 18. I believe our 7 service bays meet the definition of parking spaces. And if I could get Mr. Mainello to agree with me, then we wouldn't need that parking space because we'd have more than the 25 needed because we pick up 7 here. So if I can convince the building inspector that our 7 bays meet the definition of parking spaces, we can eliminate that parking space back there and eliminate the need for the waiver because nothing would be within the 20 feet.
I asked that question the last meeting about overnight parking. Would they use the bays to park vehicles? And they said yes.
What about the parking spaces on the west side of the parking lot? Are they within the buffer, the 20 foot?
No, it's only, the 20-foot requirement is only for the residential behind us. It's not to the street. It's just on the backside.
To the west,
To the
there's no,
west
that
there.
we're not abutting a residential.
That's not residential, so
Right.
it doesn't apply.
Judge, I have a question about those spots on the west side.
Okay.
So judging by the drawing here, the corner of the building to the property line is less than 20 feet. That backup turnaround area that you're proposing is maybe 10?
Over here on this
Paved
side.
area, yeah.
On the far
How
west
how do you
side.
propose to, number one, back the vehicle out of the bay to even fit in that spot, or the parking spots to the west, be able to back in to an area that's not even 10 feet, to back up enough to pull out?
I don't believe we're showing the parking space here. We have 17 along.
No, that's what I'm saying, though, that, I
See
think
that
that is
back
not,
up here.
Movement for-
you're backing out of the space facing Hoosick Street.
Yep.
Backing into that small turnaround area. But to me, it looks like it's not even 10 feet. How do you back up a 25-foot long truck if you got a bigger truck? Or even a standard sized car these days into something that's barely 10 foot deep to turn around and even to get the car out of the bay?
Where you have 25 feet to the bays, right? So you can, if you were to, instead of making the movement of going left to do a K-turn, right, and using that area, you can go straight back and then exit out because you have that 25. I think it's,
But you're also talking a person that's parked their car there moving it versus an employee that might be
right.
more apt to park it, move it into the bay and pull around. But
If we can get agreement that the bays would constitute parking spaces, that gives us the ability to rework that
Well,
corner.
that's why I bring that up,
Yeah.
because if you can say that those bays are parking spots, you could eliminate the two on the corner
Absolutely,
Right.
yes.
and have more turnaround space for what would be bay, in front of bay 2, bay 3 now,
Right.
Correct.
and eliminate those two in front of bay 1, because that's not deep enough for
Right.
backing up the vehicles.
I agree.
And I have a concern about where the dumpster is too. What is the width between where the dumpster would be and this kind of peninsula area where the parking spots are? Because the garbage truck is gonna have to come in.
Yep.
And then attempt to back out. And they're gonna have to make that turn on the property, correct? Instead of backing all the way out on the Mohawk?
Nope. They would do the movement within the property.
And there's enough room there
Yes.
for that?
And we can provide a auto turn truck movement of the box truck or garbage truck.
Well, yeah, for delivery vehicles
Yep.
as well. All right.
Yep.
It just seems awful tight to me that they almost have to back all the way out on the Mohawk.
Do you have a loading dock?
Where do you take deliveries?
Well, the deliveries would be
Just a sidewalk.
either A at the bays, right,
Take a 30
where they have the garage doors. That's most likely where the deliveries would occur.
I don't see it. That's just me.
Any other questions or comments so far?
The retaining wall on the western property boundary,
Yep.
is that required?
Yes, on the western side, meaning the western side over here, right? Yes. The FFE is 486. And then, like I mentioned before, the 476 is down by the highway. So in order to have a parking lot with 2 to 3% slope, cross slope, we want to make sure that the parking lot is level. And so that elevation difference is what kind of drives this. And really what drives it is our connection to Mohawk, right? Being at 486 as well, right? So the FFE and then the elevation at the center of the driveway is at 486.
Let's go back to these parking places again. You referenced Kevin's decision to, are you still analyzing that?
I'm not gonna make decisions as we sit here, but I don't know of any other commercial properties in our town that we've used the interior portion of the structure for a parking spot. So I'd have to do some research there. As I sit here,
I was trying to think of the same thing, and I can't remember ever.
we do have another, tire company up the road from here. And I can do some research and see how that parking was analyzed.
Yeah.
To compare that, but as I sit here, I'm not prepared to answer that. I mean, those, in my mind, just looking at it quickly, those spots in the interior of the structure are for vehicles that are being repaired, not parked. But that's not to say that, they couldn't be classified, put up in some research.
It wasn't my intention to put you on the spot
No,
tonight. I
understood.
just,
Understood.
to start the conversation.
No, I figured there's something going on.
Yeah.
I have a couple questions. One is, you're showing, vegetation, probably some landscaping that you're going to put through here.
Yes.
And that's right on the border of your property, which I assume, is right on the border where this house is. This house, I'm concerned that there's got to be something more than immediately these trees. I looked at the property a couple times today, driving by. There seems to be some trees, especially in the western end,
Mhm.
and there's some trees across the back.
Mhm.
None of those trees are going to stay, is that correct?
That's correct.
So now you're starting off fresh. So this resident up here, who we all know from previous applications, is not going to be very happy with having to sit there and wait for these trees or shrubs or stuff to give her property. I'm suggesting that possibly you might want to entertain some type of solid fencing across there.
We could do that.
I don't know whether it would shield a second, is that a two-story building? Residence?
Per house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be a moot point.
Are you looking for like a decorative fence to screen that?
Something, yeah. I'm thinking you might want to think about it.
Okay.
Because I think you're going to get some push from that resident.
Mhm.
And
And we're
rightfully-
putting all, those are all evergreen trees. There's actually 35, actually 30, well, as it wraps around, they're all evergreen trees that wrap around. And they're white spruce.
How big will these trees be?
They'll be 6 feet when they plant them. They'll be 6 feet, that's what our detail calls out. 6 to 7 feet, but say 6 feet. And there'll also be, if you talk about the actual building height, right? Building height being 23 feet, you're at 46, you're at 491 elevation at the back. And then you're putting in another from 491 to another 6 feet, you're at 497, right? Be the top of the tree when you first plant it. Then they typically, the plants will grow, being south facing like this, they will grow 2 to 3 feet a year, in its natural state. And, the reason for getting the vegetation cleared because we want to establish those plants. Because we do come across where we try to put plants underneath a canopy that's already there that tends to crowd out and not, be in the ideal conditions for a tree to grow. So it is giving you a height delta, right? At 491 would be the start of the tree, to 497, and we're at 486 with the building height of 23 feet.
What's the lighting in the rear? Is there any lighting in the rear?
There'll be lighting on the building. There's a series of 10 of them, and the foot candle spill at the property line is 0.1.
This is all down lighting, I would assume.
Yeah,
in the
it's
back?
down lighting. Yep.
You wouldn't have any tower
Nope.
poles or anything?
Now the poles will be there's four light poles. They're at 24 feet in height, and they'll be the LEDs.
And how tall is the building?
23 feet.
So this brings up a question that I asked you on last meeting, and that is, the length of time that your lights will remain on
Mhm.
after business closes.
Right.
You indicated that your business was going to close at 5 o'clock or thereabouts, but your lights would remain on until 11.
Yeah, and
I
those
don't
lights.
see the
will-
need for that with all of the glow and the light spillage from everything else going on Hoosick Street. I think that anything you could do to help
mitigate light pollution in that area would be well appreciated by the residents.
Okay. I know hours of operation, based on what we had submitted previously, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday is 8 AM to 6 PM. Thursday, they're open till 8:30 PM,
I'm sorry?
8 AM to 8:30.
On Thursday.
On Thursday
Right. And the rest of the week is,
is 8 AM to 6 PM, and then on Saturdays, 8 AM to 5 PM, Sunday, 9 AM to 5 PM.
well, I would put forth that I think a reasonable amount of time to let your lights stay on after the close of business would be an hour.
Right, right. Yep, I can bring that to the client and we can get back to you on it.
That's what you said last meeting.
Yeah, that's what, I mean, that's what it would normally be.
So you haven't brought that to the client yet?
I have brought it to the client, but he hasn't said
Okay.
otherwise, so, but I'll confirm with him.
I'm just trying to reduce the light pollution.
Yep.
You should also reference code 160-41, height of poles. Raise 15.
Just got a flat roof on the building.
Yes.
Air conditioners are gonna be on the ground.
I don't know, I have to get back to you.
Because they'll be looking right into the
Yeah.
people's houses.
Right.
Maybe it'd be good to put them on the ground.
Does the existing structure have a basement?
I don't know.
Well, what I'm trying to
I
figure
think
out
it,
is,
I believe it does,
you're gonna
believe I
do some
saw.
type of grading on that property.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out whether you're gonna remove material or you're going to use it for fill-in a foundation. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
You mean like a earthworks quantities,
Yeah, like a balance of site.
balance of site?
Could it be like a pit for somebody to get under or change oil filters and stuff? Or you see everything on this?
I believe it's all on the list, what I understand it as.
I don't think pits are illegal anymore.
Right, right. They're all on the list.
And what's the safety plan as far as dealing with oil spills?
So they did provide a safety plan here. Each store uses a double wall, 250-gallon tank for new and waste
Can I get a
oil.
copy of that?
Yeah, I think, did we not?
I think the packet,
Did I,
did you get,
I'm
did
sorry,
you,
did we already get
I
that?
don't know if it was like the first initial submission that we had provided. It may not, so I can write a copy for the rest of the members.
I don't believe I have mine.
We will supplement the application with this. But each store uses a double wall, 250-gallon tank.
All right, well, if you could just
Yeah.
get a copy.
Will do.
just mine?
But they have
That's
protocols in
inside?
place with
I
cleanup.
don't have.
It's inside?
Yes, inside.
That's not yours?
And everything's contained, nothing goes out. There's no piping connected to it, so. And then obviously they would use absorbent
So you were
materials.
saying,
What's that?
you were saying about the safety?
Oh, the safety is that they have 250-gallon double wall tanks inside the building. And that's what contains any, if there is or happens to be a spill inside the facility, it is contained. They would use speedy dry to absorb the oil to make sure that they do clean up.
And how is
And then, and it's immediately reported to the facilities department. And then if necessary, an environmental cleanup crew is dispatched to remediate and properly dispose of the affected materials.
Okay.
So,
Great, as long as you got a safety plan,
all right.
as long as it's a good one.
Any other questions?
Here's a, sorry, Mavis down in Troy,
Mhm.
you're gonna keep that open?
I don't know. I can check with them. I'm not sure.
I mean, just wondering if they closed and all that business is gonna come up here. I just.
Yeah.
Wayne, have you had a chance to look through the,
We did start looking through the plans and I did review the FEAF. I do have some comments on the EAF. In your description of your proposed action, you identify, this says the city of Brunswick. You should change that to the town of Brunswick.
Yes. Okay.
On the second page, on item B, you may need a variance for the height of your light poles. If you're going to keep them at 24 feet, then you should check that as yes. Town Zoning Board of Appeals.
All right.
You described the planning board as Town of Brunswick, New York Planning and Zoning Department. That should be Town of Brunswick, New York Planning Board.
Yeah.
You're going to need some kind of approval from New York State DOT because you are discharging to their storm sewer system. So under item G, that should be yes, and that would be New York State DOT. At some point, you're going to have to submit your SWIFT and stormwater report to DOT.
Yep.
And they're
There's an
going to,
existing connection that's there now to that.
well, they're still going to tell you they don't want to point discharge into
Right.
their catch basin, but you'll have to deal with that.
Yep.
On the third page, under item C3 zoning, site of the proposed action does have an adopted zoning law, so that should be yes, and it is in a B15 zoning classification.
Okay.
And we're kind of up in the air on what you usually do for like water impoundment. If you have underground detention.
Yes. And we disconnected one of the roof drains, actually two of the roof drains, so they can go into an amended soil. You know, it's got the riprap to dissipate the energy, and the two roof drains on the ends actually are piped, but the ones in the middle, and we're only counting the runoff reduction coefficient or runoff reduction value by taking and disconnecting one of the roof drains, bringing it into an amended soils area. That's more like a depression that has grass on it. And then that overflows to a yard drain within the area and then connects in. So all that roof water will make its way down, go into the isolator row and the ADS underground system. And the rest of the parking lot will get treated through a hydrodynamic separator through an isolator row to achieve the
Okay, so that's the only comments I have on the EAF.
Okay.
And I mentioned about the discharge to the DOT right away.
Yep.
Plans look really good so far. I don't think we're going to have a ton of comments. They're pretty comprehensive.
And I know you all had mentioned, or one of you had mentioned about matching the retaining wall on the development that's across Mohawk Avenue. Their wall is 10 feet high, because I have the plans. And I got the plans from the engineer. So we're going to use the same type of wall. Ours is going to be 7 feet tall. Like the highest is going to be 7 feet tall, not 10.
How much?
7.
Well,
And-
we
I
really
thought-
don't
I
want you
thought
to use
initially it was-
exactly what they have there.
Oh, you know?
Especially the colors.
No.
Especially the colors.
Yeah, I thought initially it was 3 or 4 feet in the front.
Yeah, where's the 7 feet all of a sudden come from?
A detailed site design. It had evolved just because of the 486, and the 486 at Mohawk Avenue was driving that.
So, all right, 'cause I
And that was
I
from,
wasn't on this board for the quick check, but I gotta tell you, I have a serious concern with that wall.
Yep.
Anything over 4 feet What are you gonna have there for a barrier for cars that are mistakenly?
We have a
gonna drive
guide
up
rail,
that?
we have a guide rail, that wooden guide rail, and then we also have for fall protection, we have a 4-foot fence with the slats in it for screening. So any headlight glare, because you're up at the higher elevation,
Well,
will be
that's
screened.
another concern, is you're at that kind of a middle ground for headlight glare.
Right, and that's what we're doing to treat that.
So you're gonna mitigate that for the headlight glare.
Yep.
You have a detailed plan of the bollards or the fencing you're gonna put in for that?
And then we're putting landscaping down at the base of the wall, which would be more of the shrubs that would kind of soften the retaining wall. And then, like I
Deer
said,
won't eat,
what's that?
something the deer won't eat.
Right.
Yeah, we gotta talk about the,
Arborvitae's?
no, we gotta
No,
talk
we don't
about the
wanna
wall
do
type.
You know,
We're open to. If
I'm doing all the numbers here with this 7-foot wall, and then you're gonna have a rail, and then you're gonna have a
4-foot.
4-foot fence. Now you're up to 11 feet.
No, I mean, you have to have the chain link fence for fall protection, right? It's
I
a safety.
understand that.
Absolutely,
Right.
but
I understand that, but that whole corridor is gonna look like a tunnel.
Russ, I would recommend that the board ask for a rendering, from Hoosick Street elevation, of a vehicle looking towards that building that was going to show the retaining wall, the railing, the light poles, and the building. I think that's one thing we kind of missed on quick check, and I think the rendering would really help the board understand
Mhm.
the dynamic look from, as you sit in a
So a
vehicle.
street view, right?
Yeah, as you sit in the vehicle on Hoosick Street.
Do you want it from different angle points or?
Well, I'll leave it up to the board, but I think a rendering from that view shed would be very, very helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Times a day, maybe time of day with light spill from a vehicle that's
Yeah.
parked in a parking spot, shining out on Hoosick Road.
in the corner of it,
Right.
Mohawk and 7. You can do that corner.
Couple angles would be good.
So, because this is below quick check, so any vehicles exiting aren't gonna have, come up to the property and maybe shine into the neighbor behind quick check. Right, they're gonna be more straight enough to come out.
Right.
So that should be, but you're still gonna have are you gonna have a negative pitch from this area where the two lines coming in, going out, to go back out on a Mohawk? So I think about Hannaford, right?
Right.
Hannaford's got that negative pitch.
Yep.
When I'm sitting at the traffic light on the Planet Fitness property, those lights are glaring right in my eyes. Happens every time.
When you
it's
come in,
dusk.
when you come in the drive, you're gonna be pointing down
Okay.
because it's gonna come down.
That's what I'm asking.
Right. Because we tried to match the FFE with the center point.
So what's the height differential between the back of the lot and the front of the lot when you're all done?
In existing,
Well,
because the front of the lot, like the base of the wall is pretty much existing grade, right? So you're at
I'm
470.
still struggling with 7 to 8 feet of wall.
7 feet tallest. It's not 8 feet.
I'm still struggling with 11 feet of structure. And I'm just trying to figure out if there's enough pitch in what you're proposing to reduce that height.
With the parking lot, and then you gotta have the bumper, the front of your car overhang, right? That's kind of dictating where this wall goes. So you can't get any relief from, like if you had like 10 foot, you could slope it down to reduce the wall, right? Or even like more than that, but you're trying to keep it level so that you have the guide rail to protect the car from going off the wall, and you have the fence, 4-foot fence from fall protection, if anybody were to, protect the customer.
I get it.
Yeah.
13.
I do. But
So according to the original plan we got, there's about a 13-foot differential from the front to the back.
Yep.
So you're gonna raise up, obviously, the parking spots to 7 feet. We're showing 479 on this plan, brings you up to your 480, 6?
Mhm.
And now you're really left with 5 feet overall.
Right.
For that.
I know signage is not our department, but as you drive by Quick Check right now, and you see from the road, there's going to be obviously some pole signs and stuff. But as far as the building, you just see the top section of that building. Are you going to have signage across the top?
Yes,
Of
there
that
will be,
building?
there will be building signage. And there'll be a monument sign
Yeah.
located at the,
I mean, it's not going to be as
South
drastic, obviously, as the 10-foot wall is now. But you don't see a lot of that Quick Check when you're driving by. You just see that upper section. And I'm just concerned about where the signage is going to be in relation to possibly not being able to see the signage on the
well, when we
building.
do the rendering, right, that'll
Yeah,
come out,
yeah.
right?
I would suggest that you put that on there.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a point about the height of the poles for the lights, 15 feet. So that, you're going to make that adjustment also.
Yeah.
Because I think originally it was 21, 23 feet,
They had it listed as 24 feet.
24
There's a
feet.
Lighting consultant that provided that,
So that's going to make a big difference too.
Why don't they cut a little bit more in the back?
I have a few.
Wall behind them.
Sorry. If you could review code 160-43 when you're preparing your plans, and comment on that, appreciate that. And then for the landscaping, if there are, I don't see on any of your existing conditions where you're located, the actual trees that are there. There's just like a vegetation line.
Mm-hmm.
So if your survey actually located the trees that are existing in the back, if they could be shown on the map so that we can
If you cut in.
determine whether or not plants could be placed underneath them
Yeah.
or behind them.
You want a tree survey?
Well, if you've surveyed those points, those trees that are back, I thought it was just one row of spruce trees behind the house, could be wrong.
Yeah, I think there's a couple along the, like I said, the western edge of the property.
Yeah.
But most of them are the ones in the back there.
Right.
Yeah. Behind the parking lot,
Yeah.
there's a row of trees. I guess the spruce evergreens are on the other property. Maybe you could just define that a little bit cleaner so
Okay.
that I understand you're not taking down all the trees to the
Correct.
next property line.
Yep.
It may be evident in your photo simulation that you prepared.
Right.
But I think that would be helpful for the board and for the public when we get to that point. I think that's all for now.
I have one question for Wayne. Did you have a chance to look at the traffic study?
It's being reviewed now.
Okay. One of
I
the
handed it off to my traffic.
one of the things we have to be aware of that this would be a destination type place. People would come, there's going to be some added traffic. It's not going to be servicing the people that are going through there now, the tourists, the skiers and stuff like that, like a fast food or a market or a gas station. This is now going to be a destination type place.
Yeah, we'll look at how they did the trip generation.
Yeah, we'll have Gordon from the traffic consultant.
Yeah.
That was on the project. We will have him speak to the
I think we
details on that.
did get a traffic study.
My only other comment, sorry, I remembered now, was, I'm having a few, the fence, the chain link fence in the front with the slats. It shows in your typical section that you have sort of an arm at the top
Mhm.
and just if you could consider fencing options that might be appropriate
Okay.
to a-
Yeah.
an
More
entrance
decorative.
to town. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone have any other questions at this point?
So,
I think we got a little bit of homework here. We got to look
Yeah.
at these a little bit more.
Yep.
Does anybody have any more questions?
what's the finished grade from the top of that 7-foot wall?
The
Where
finished
the
grade?
asphalt will be? So in other words, how much lower than the wall?
The top of the wall is 44.85. Like the top of the wall. And then the bottom of the wall is 477.79.
Can you repeat that again, please?
Top of the wall is 484.85. The bottom of the wall is 477.79.
What's the elevation of the parking?
Parking is at the bottom curve is 480, 461. It varies because of the drainage, right?
Right.
But that would be the lowest point because that's where catch basin is located. And then up at the building, obviously coming out, it's at 486. They have like a 2.16% slope. The drains to that.
And there's no space between the bottom of the wall and the property line to grade.
The bottom of the wall on the west property,
Yeah,
it's about a 4 foot, 5 foot space, 4 foot space.
Okay.
Was there any consideration given to putting any part of the wall in the back?
484.
You mean put a retaining wall?
To split the difference, so you don't have 7 feet in front, and maybe do 3 and 3 or 5 and 2, or was there any discussion about that, or any, did you look at that at all?
Yes, we did look at that. And really it's the road grade, your existing grade that you gotta tie into is really what drives it. You know, further you put it down, the lower you can bring the building, but then you're too close to the intersection.
I understand that,
So,
it's gonna come up now.
yeah, yep.
Okay, if there's no more questions and you have no more questions for the board at this point, I'd like to put you on the agenda for our next meeting
Perfect.
to move forward on that.
Can you get them what they need to meet so we can get
That would be on the 16th?
Yeah.
2 weeks?
That'd be great.
Okay, I think we're all set for tonight.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes our agenda for this evening. I'd like to review our agenda. Is there any new business? There's no new business. Any old business?
Mr. Chair, can I address the board about another project? There will be a request to be placed upon the agenda. I have spoken with Mr. Manillo about it.
Say that again?
I've been trying to get the Brunswick Acres subdivision back before this board since last July. And we finally gotten to the point where I was directed by Mr. Grunberg and Mr. Langlois to approach Mr. Manillo about getting on the agenda. And I'm here tonight, so I just wanted to see if I could appeal directly to you to put that matter back on your agenda.
Let me clarify something. You've been
Sure.
working on this since last July.
I have.
By who?
So-
Is
Well-
that our fault that we're?
No, no, not at all. No.
Okay.
Just to be fair, all right, we're not going to get into the substance of what
Correct.
it is. So this is just a request to be on the agenda.
The next available agenda.
I think if you contact the building department, speak with Kevin or Wendy, they can add you as an agenda item for the next available meeting and.
That would be the request.
Take it
That's
up.
all I'm asking. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, any other old business? Okay, new business, or our agenda, excuse me. Our agenda for next meeting is as follows. I have a public hearing scheduled for AT&T, actually two public hearings, I think they are, for two different applications.
Yes.
To commence at 7 PM. So they're going to be first on the agenda. Then there's Fisher. Paramount now wants to be back on, and we have Mavis Tire. I just assume maintain that order, Fisher, Paramount, and then Mavis. Is there any problems with that? So we have 4 items as far as I know. Potentially,
Yeah, I presume that would be old business, Brunswick Acres.
but we'd have to put them on the agenda though, officially.
Correct. So I'm assuming Andy Brick will be in touch
Tomorrow morning.
to ask to be put on. If that happens, you can add them to the agenda, but
Okay, so potentially we're going to have Brunswick Acres as number 5. Okay, anything that I'm missing?
Cold Lane, that's
Yeah, when's Colleen coming back?
Was that?
That's cold.
Cold Lane.
Sillis
Subdivision.
is cold.
I don't know.
Silicon?
I've not heard.
they come like 1 or 2 meetings a year.
Get my stuff ready for tonight. I kept saying, but they're not at 8.
Okay, if there's no other business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
You were supposed to show.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what you said when you